Hey everyone, welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News. Today's update is one you'll want to watch until the very end, because what's happening right now in Iraq's economy could be the biggest turning point in 2 decades. We're not talking about another rumor, not speculation, but real financial power. Iraq's central bank has just confirmed that the nation's foreign currency reserves have crossed the $100 billion mark, and with that comes the rise of the digital dinar project. That combination could completely reshape how Iraq's money works, how its banks connect to the world, and how the dinar's value is viewed internationally. So grab a seat, because we're breaking down what this means, why it matters, and how it could change the future of the Iraqi dinar. Let's start with the headline that's shocking analysts worldwide. Iraq's foreign currency reserves have reached $100 billion. That's a milestone the country hasn't seen in its modern history. For Iraq, those reserves aren't just a savings account, they're a financial shield. They protect the currency from shocks, fund imports, stabilize exchange rates, and attract investment. Just 20 years ago, Iraq was emerging from conflict, sanctions, and economic chaos. Fast forward to today, and the central bank is sitting on one of the largest reserve cushions in the Middle East. That tells the world one thing: Iraq has moved from crisis management to financial confidence. Stay with me, because this foundation is what makes every next move possible. Now, you might ask, how did Iraq build up so much so fast? 3 big factors made it happen. First is oil, Iraq's lifeline. With global oil prices staying high, the country has been exporting millions of barrels a day, filling its accounts with billions each month. Second is stronger monetary discipline. The central bank has cracked down on black market dollar sales and tightened how foreign currency leaves the country. That stopped leakage and kept hard currency where it belongs inside Iraq's official system. Third, new trade practices are helping. Iraq now settles some deals in dinars with nations like China, Iran, and Turkey, reducing pressure on the dollar and increasing local demand for dinars. When you combine strong oil income, smart controls, and new settlement systems, the result is a record reserve and financial independence that few predicted. So what does this mean for Iraq's currency, the dinar? A lot. Those reserves give the central bank the power to stabilize or even strengthen the exchange rate when the time is right. You can't raise a currency's value unless you can support it with real reserves, and Iraq now has that support. $100 billion means the central bank can defend the dinar from speculation, maintain public trust, and confidently move toward modernization. That's exactly why officials are now preparing the next phase, a digital dinar system. This is where the story turns from strength to transformation. The digital dinar, sometimes called the electronic dinar, isn't just an idea anymore. It's a real project being developed and tested by Iraq's central bank. Think of it as Iraq's version of a central bank-backed digital currency, not a cryptocurrency. It's completely controlled and guaranteed by the government. Its goal is to make payments faster, safer, and easier for every citizen. Instead of carrying cash or dealing with slow transfers, people could use phones or cards to send dinars instantly. That's convenience, but it's also transparency. Every transaction is traceable and secure, which means less corruption and more trust in the banking system. Pretty soon, digital wallets could become as common in Baghdad as physical bills once were. Now, this isn't just about technology. The digital dinar connects Iraq to the world's financial grid in a way that old systems never could. Digital payment platforms work hand in hand with international networks like SWIFT, MasterCard, and Visa. Once Iraq's banks are fully integrated, cross-border transactions can move in seconds instead of days. That's what foreign investors look for: speed, stability, and reliability. In other words, the digital dinar is Iraq's ticket to global readiness. It's how the country shows that it's ready to do business in a modern, secure, and efficient way. But let's take a step back and remember why this moment is so different from past promises. For years, Iraq talked about reform. The difference today is the foundation behind it. The digital dinar isn't launching in a vacuum, it's being built on top of $100 billion in reserves, strict monetary policies, and a stable oil income. That combination didn't exist before. The reforms are real this time, and they have muscle behind them. When you add strong reserves, technology, and discipline together, you don't just get modernization, you get power. Inside Iraq, this move could transform everyday life. Many Iraqis still rely heavily on cash because they don't trust the banking system. Digital banking will begin to change that. With secure wallets and real-time payments, people can receive salaries, pay bills, and shop without carrying large sums of cash. Small businesses can record transactions automatically and avoid corruption. Farmers, teachers, and shop owners alike will gain faster access to their money. Over time, this trust rebuilds the connection between citizens and banks, a crucial step for any strong economy. Let's talk about how this affects the dinar's rate itself. When a financial system becomes digital, every transaction becomes visible to the central bank. That means fewer illegal exchanges, less smuggling of dollars, and tighter control of the money supply. In simple terms, that gives Iraq the power to stabilize its exchange rate. Precisely. Once the market becomes predictable, global investors and foreign banks feel safer trading or holding dinars. Confidence goes up, and when confidence goes up, value follows. It's not about flipping a switch overnight, it's about building real credibility that gradually lifts the currency. Oil remains Iraq's strongest card. The country is OPEC's second largest producer, exporting millions of barrels every single day. But unlike in past years when profits vanish into spending, this time the government is saving and investing. Those oil revenues are what built the $100 billion reserve we're talking about. Every barrel sold adds to the dinar's backing. When a currency is supported by real assets, oil, gold, and foreign holdings, it's not just paper anymore. It has tangible worth. That's why many analysts believe the dinar's next phase will be stronger, because it's not based on hope but on hard assets. Let's zoom in on what the dinar's central bank is planning next. Officials have said that the digital dinar will operate alongside physical cash for a transition period. At the same time, they're preparing to introduce new, smaller denomination notes, 1s and 5s, 10s and 20s. These lower-value bills will make everyday transactions smoother and reflect a currency that's becoming more stable. A dual system, digital and paper, gives flexibility and trust while the population adapts. It's smart policy, because people can see and feel the change happening step by step. Another key part of this reform is connecting Iraq's banks to global systems. Over the past year, several major international banks have quietly expanded their presence in Iraq. JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, and regional institutions are watching closely. Why? Because modernization opens doors. When Iraq's banks can transact instantly with global networks, capital starts to flow more easily. That's how economies grow, through trust and access. Every new connection is a sign that Iraq is re-entering the international stage as a serious financial player. It's worth noting that neighboring countries are paying attention too. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Turkey are all exploring central bank digital currencies of their own. Iraq's progress puts it right in that regional race. For a nation that once struggled to stabilize its currency, that's a big statement. It shows that Baghdad is ready to compete, innovate, and modernize, not just follow. The International Monetary Fund has even acknowledged Iraq's progress in building transparency and discipline in 2025. That's the kind of global recognition that builds long-term confidence. So, what does all this mean for dinar holders and observers worldwide? The short answer: it's positive. Whenever a country increases its reserves, adopts financial technology, and improves stability, its currency tends to strengthen over time. It may not happen overnight, but the direction is what matters. The central bank's priorities are clear: stability first, growth second, and value third. Once stability is proven through digital systems and steady reserves, growth and valuation naturally follow. For long-term holders, patience is finally starting to make sense. Let's look ahead to the key milestones to watch. First, keep an eye on the official launch or pilot test of the digital dinar. When that happens, it means the system is real and active. Second, watch for new currency designs, the smaller denominations. Third, follow the announcements about international banking connections. Each integration shows progress toward full global participation. And finally, listen for official language about exchange rate balance or rate adjustment. Those phrases usually signal that the central bank is preparing for the next financial step. You might be wondering why this time feels more certain than previous reform waves. The answer lies in structure. Before, Iraq lacked reserves, systems, and global partners. Now it has all three. $100 billion in reserves, modern digital infrastructure, and support from international financial institutions. That's not coincidence, that's readiness. When a nation has resources, technology, and credibility lined up, change becomes not just possible but expected. Let's remember what Iraq has come through. Decades of sanctions, inflation, and instability made rebuilding a long road. Yet step by step the country's institutions have evolved. The central bank's consistent efforts to manage dollars, track trade, and build digital systems have paid off. For the first time, Iraq's economy has both strength and structure. It's no longer dependent on temporary fixes. That shift from crisis to control is the biggest victory so far. For the Iraqi people, these changes mean more than charts and numbers. They mean trust in their money, in their banks, and in their government's ability to deliver stability. When people believe their currency holds value, they start saving, investing, and spending wisely. That's how growth spreads from the top down to ordinary households. The digital dinar and strong reserves together form a foundation that benefits everyone, not just investors or big companies. As we move further into 2025, all signs point to acceleration. Infrastructure projects, fintech partnerships, and financial regulations are aligning. Iraq's leaders seem determined to prove that the country can manage its economy independently and transparently. Each new step, every digital pilot, every reserve report pushes confidence higher. It's like watching a long-planned strategy finally come together piece by piece. Of course, challenges remain. No economic transformation happens overnight. But the difference this time is that Iraq has both the data and the dollars to support its ambitions. The focus now is on maintaining discipline, continuing digital rollout, and ensuring that citizens adapt comfortably to new systems. If those elements stay on track, the dinar's value will follow the fundamentals, and fundamentals are stronger than ever. Let's not forget, every major economy that modernized its currency and banking systems went through a similar phase. It starts with reserves, then digital integration, then global linkage, and finally currency strength. Iraq is right in the middle of that roadmap. Each success story, from China's digital yuan to India's UPI system, began with the same kind of groundwork, and Iraq is now taking those same strategic steps. So, as we wrap up, let's look at the big picture. Iraq's $100 billion reserves are not just a financial milestone, they're a declaration of independence from past instability. The digital dinar is not just a tech experiment, it's a bridge to global relevance. Together, they represent a country reclaiming its financial destiny. That's what makes this moment historic. Iraq has moved from crisis to confidence, from volatility to vision. If you've followed the dinar journey for years, this is the time to stay informed and focused. Don't fall for hype or rumors. Look at the fundamentals. The reserves, the systems, and the policies speak for themselves. Iraq's central bank isn't waiting for approval, it's executing its own plan step by step. And every step is leading toward one goal: a stronger, respected, and modern Iraqi dinar. So, as we close today's update, remember this: patience and progress go hand in hand. Iraq's transformation isn't a single event. It's a process built on data, discipline, and determination. The pieces are in place, the reserves are real, and the digital future is unfolding right now. Stay tuned, stay smart, and keep watching, because the story of Iraq's economic rise is just beginning. Thanks for watching Iraqi Dinar News. If this breakdown helped you understand the big picture, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with others following this journey. We'll keep you updated as Iraq takes each new step toward financial modernization. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay ready, and remember, from crisis to power, the dinar story is only getting stronger.